Okay, well, this is a test stream. I will wait until I have some idea there's someone here. Oh boy, what a day, what a day. For anybody listening in the future, I am currently using a gaming headset, sitting back on my couch here in the living room on my laptop because my primary computer is an increasing disaster area. I have no idea the sound quality I have right now. You guys are gonna have to tell me what's my sound quality. I'm using a gaming headset, not my usual Yeti thing. So, do I sound terrible? I probably sound terrible. You sound great, no worries. Hi Scribble, hi Scribe, doesn't sound bad. All right, well, hey everybody. So, apologies for lack of an overlay. All of the materials I would usually use for a broadcast are on my main computer. So, for the sake of explanation, here's what's been happening with my computer the last day or three. Some of you who've been following me on Twitter probably already know this. Short version is that the CPU cooler on my computer has decided to give up the ghost. It is or was a liquid cooler. So I only found out today, thanks to One Ton Hammer, that since the beginning of time for this computer, apparently the cooler was installed upside down. So it cut the lifespan of this cooler down significantly to some degree. Don't know. I said degree. There's a pun. So, in the absence of a better option, I ordered a new cooler. I sprung for it because what choice do I have? And I ordered it, and I said overnight shipping. I paid the extra money. And overnight shipping apparently means it'll be shipped overnight. It won't arrive for 10 days or something like that. So I am with a computer that I can only run in the most basic way for at least the time until I get the cooler. And the most basic way is that, fortunately, at least conceivably, I won't know until tomorrow morning, I can run the program necessary for me to link up with my work computer and get my work done for my job, and then log out of my computer and let it cool down for the rest of the day, and use it for nothing else. Can't open a browser. Can't open anything that would actually put any load of any significance onto the computer. Otherwise, it'll spike and start going into danger territory. So I am stuck in that mode for the time being. Consequently, also, I can't safely access any of the materials on my main computer. So all my overlays, all of my videos, everything that I'd use for TEDx, etc., is locked away, unfortunately. I'm not necessarily going to be streaming like this every day or something to take up the slack, but I wanted to at least give an explanation to everybody as to why there wasn't a TEDx tonight. There will not be a Sunday stream, and the 5-year anniversary stream will obviously have to be postponed as well, which I'm not happy about, but hey, them's the breaks. To keep my sanity, I may do the occasional stream and try to figure out something that I can safely present here on my laptop. But otherwise, the regularly scheduled streams from me will be put on hold for the time being. But after all of that whining and complaining, who is here to join me for this ramshackle stream of mine? Let's see. Sam Kors, hello. Funtime Bats, hello. Spittlebuggies, hello. Green Death, hello. Gulf City Johnny Blaze, hello. Morgan, hello. Or Sweet Chili Tea, as used to be. Ortho May, hello. Tack Alpaca, hello. Emperor WR Costin, Peter Silac Hades 313, hello. Shortline 614, hello. Travis Gardner, hello. Who else? Ebony Williams, hello. And I think that's everybody that I've seen so far. So thank you so much. So you might ask yourself, Scribe, now that you're lounging back on your couch, on your gaming headset, probably sounding like a completely different person, what are you going to do? What are you going to talk about? I don't know. I guess I could talk about, let's see. How personal do I want to get here, all things considered? Well, if she ends up hearing this, it'll be the same thing I'd tell her. and so I'll try to be polite. Well, it's not that I can't be polite. It's just so I've mentioned in the past. You know what? I apologize. 1 second. Let me go run and get my water, because otherwise I'm just going to be dried out, and that won't be fun. So for the moment, if you'll excuse me, I'll be right back. All right, and I am back. Yeah, need my water. I've been running around and hiking around and just stressing out all day over this thing. I took apart my computer thinking I could somehow alleviate the problem. I couldn't. So anyway, Colleen Bernier, hello. Chicago Mike, hello. All right, so stream of consciousness time. I've mentioned in the past how 5 years ago, since we're coming up on 5-year anniversary type stuff, just before the election between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, I had a falling out with my best friend at the time, best friend of 8 years at that point. The scenario was this. I've talked about it before. I had put on a message on Facebook that I was not voting in the presidential. I had my issues with both candidates and was not comfortable voting for either one of them. So I was abstaining from voting in the presidential. My best friend, for reasons I still to this day do not quite comprehend, interpreted that as being, since I was not voting for Hillary, I was de facto voting for Trump. And given the fact that Trump was ostensibly for this list of evil things, therefore I was acting in conflict with her well-being, my best friend's well-being. For the sake of things, I will call my best friend Jane, even though her name's not Jane. So in so many messages and about an email or two, despite the fact that I tried to explain to her that my not voting for either candidate does not mean I'm supporting Trump or Hillary. I mean, the same logic could be said to Hillary. That argument did not stick. And so as a consequence of this disagreement, she decided to effectively end our friendship. And recent events have caused me to think a lot about that situation in the last 2 weeks. And I've been able to sort of articulate it this way. If I came to Jane, the judge, in a court, and I was playing defense attorney for myself, and my entire case against her argument or against her complaint was a box filled with 8 years of solid, loyal friendship, and the very first thing that Jane says is, all of that evidence is denied entry into the case. You know, it's ruled inadmissible. What case do I have? Right. So at that time and since then, I just sort of had to accept it. I didn't have it in me to try to convince her that I wasn't operating counter to her well-being. If 8 years of solid friendship didn't do that, I didn't know what else to say. And so that's a short version of how things went down then. That was 5 years ago. And then just about 2 weeks ago now, out of nowhere, she contacts me and wants to apologize / mend fences. And so this came completely out of the blue. I had effectively written off ever really talking to her again years ago now. And so when she contacted me, I was very surprised. But I was also kind of surprised at how much I didn't react, if that makes any sense. I'm not saying I was heartless to it. but it just didn't have much of an emotional impact because, I had moved on distinctly since that time, obviously. And so I was, surprised, but also curious. I'm not going to go into the details of what was said to me um, during the course of the call, even though some of those details are kind of relevant to my assessment of things. But she apologized. She gave me a rundown of what's been going on in her life over, well, the last 5 years. And it resolved with her asking if I wanted to reconnect, start trying to be friends again. And even though I accepted her apology, because it takes some bravery to come out of nowhere and apologize for something and admit wrongdoing of a kind. I had to pause on making any decisions at that point because A, it was all very sudden, and B, I wasn't quite sure where I was at emotionally, so to speak. And so for the last 2 weeks, I've been very methodically thinking over what am I going to say or do in this situation, because I have to give her a decision, both for herself and certainly for me. What is the best thing to do here? And specifically best for me because for everything that has occurred in her life since that time, all I know for a fact is that her decision 5 years ago was wholly her decision, and based on I'll be generous and say a misapprehension, and it was nobody else's fault. It was nobody else's doing, and I accepted it because on the one hand, like I said, what argument could I have in response? And on the other hand, if I tried to argue to her that she was being irrational or unreasonable or anything else, I wouldn't be respecting the fact that this is her decision. Even if I disagreed with it, it's her decision. She's making it of sound mind. She, throughout emails and other things, this wasn't some off the cuff emotional outburst. So at that time, I just accepted it. Now, the other factor to this is that her, for lack of a better phrase, breaking up with me was just the latest in a series of social catastrophes that I'd gone through to that point in the ensuing year or two prior. The issue with this one, though, and the thing that made it unique, in most relationship breakdowns, and I think most of you would probably agree with me, there is, if you're being honest, a certain percentage of blame to go around, right? I mean, now certainly there are circumstances otherwise, but for the most part, you could probably honestly say, if I had asked this question then, or if I had been paying attention then, even if your part in it is relatively small, there's probably some portion of your actions or inactions that could be put in the calculus of how the friendship ended, right? Especially if it ends dramatically or relationship ends dramatically. This situation was unique because there was no, like, on reflection, I didn't have to worry about, did I say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, was I insensitive? I was dropped for a non-reason, right? I was effectively abandoned for an unjustified reason. So unlike previous little social catastrophes, this was one where I had no sense of guilt, no sense of responsibility, not because I was heartless, but because it was factually true. And so that also made the entire thing punitive. Right? This wasn't a breakup because of, we moved apart or we drifted away from each other. This was you're not saying the thing I want you to say or doing the thing I want you to do, therefore this is your punishment. And that's kind of where I've been coming at it from for the last 2 weeks, is that I just can't see myself trusting her again in the way that a friend could. Because given what happened, I'd always be waiting for the next shoe to drop, and I can't see that being a healthy way to have a relationship with anybody, either for myself or for the other person. But I've struggled with this, even though it seemed pretty clear, because I found myself not dwelling on the situation. I'd have to, throughout the course of my days the last 2 weeks, I'd have to sort of stop and remember, oh yeah, I still have to resolve this somehow. And that told me quite a bit too, is that I wasn't having any kind of emotional attachment to the whole situation, but I was struggling with it on a ethical, moral level, right? I mean, here's somebody who has apologized, who has effectively reached out for my help, if only in the sense of like just support, you know, friendly psychic support, if nothing else. And yet, I know that in my heart of hearts, I don't have it in me to connect with her or trust her the way that I used to be able to. And truth be told, that incident combined with the other little catastrophes has kind of, I don't want anybody to think that I'm blaming other people for my decisions. That's not the case. Whatever trust issues that I have, whatever, you know, insulating factors exist where I have a problem connecting with people in the last 5 years, especially, that's on me, right? That's my decision. That's my problem, and so on. But on the flip side of it, if somebody gets punched in the face repeatedly over and over again, you really can't blame them if somebody walking up, raising their hand at them makes them flinch, right? I'm not one to dwell on victimhood or anything like that. But, you know, trauma is a real thing, and conditioned reactions are also a real thing. I know that these are problems that I have to resolve in myself, but I also can't deny that they are problems that exist in me. And they are inextricably tied, at least in one sense, to Jane. And so I can't separate that one from the other. And so I've been struggling with this over the last 2 weeks because I know that my inevitable response to her asking if I would be friends with her again is going to hurt her. And I do not like intentionally hurting people. This isn't an intentional means to hurt. Like I'm not, that was the other thing I'm trying to make sure I operate on here, that I'm not making a decision based on bitterness, that I'm not making a decision based on some kind of like vengeance, and certainly that I'm not making a decision in the alternate out of, you know, pity or something like that. I have to make the decision that's ultimately best for me. And yet I still hesitate. I gave myself a deadline of 1 week or so after she'd first contacted me. I said I should get back to her within a week. I should be at least respectful enough to give her a response so that it's not hanging on the vine very long. And yet that week came and went, and here I am coming up on effectively 2 weeks since she contacted me. Earlier today, I texted her and said, is now a good time to talk? And I haven't heard from her since. She might be busy or something. So there's no resolution to the story yet. But on the, you know, off chance that she's happening to listen to this, she obviously already knows effectively the answer. I don't wish her ill. I've gotten over whatever hurt or disappointment I had a long time ago. It's not to say that it's not still there on recollection, but it's certainly not affecting me directly anymore. And it was honestly something I really hadn't thought about in any great degree until she contacted me. But I don't think that it would be, I wouldn't be honest if I said that I could trust her again, or that I could feel like I wasn't waiting at the drop of a dime at another disagreement, at another thing I say or do or otherwise that would just blow the whole thing up, and why bother? So there you go. There's not much else to say about that topic now that I've done my, and by the way, just in case you didn't realize it or you came in late, I am sitting on my couch. So effectively, you guys are my collective online therapist right there. And I just kind of did a long sort of rambling confession of my current emotional and mental state. But let me scroll up a bit and get a few comments from you guys. if that's all right. Let's see if this works here. Subpar genitalia. I actually know this kind of scenario. It wasn't over politics, but religion. Our friendship isn't nearly what it was, but I do her as a solid friend. Excuse me. Gotcha. Let's see. Anthrax. Excuse me. Anthrax Allen. Don't allow yourself to be put in the position of hurt again, Scribelight. That's one thought, but you see, I don't know that I could be hurt at this point because my expectations are so very low. Peter Silacatus, everyone deserves a second chance, but fool me once. That's the other thing I'm struggling with. You know, I say to myself, what would I, if I was in that situation, what would I hope for? And here's the other thought I had, and you can call it selfish if you like. I wouldn't blame you if you did. If I had wronged someone like that, which is difficult for me to imagine, but if I had wronged someone like that so unjustly, and if I was sorry about it, and I did make an apology, I wouldn't then ask the other person if they wanted to be friends again. If all I wanted to do to clear my conscience was to fess up to having done wrong, that's all I would do. If the other person wanted to reestablish a relationship or contact or something, that would be wholly their decision. And I personally wouldn't ask for it. Now, do I know that for a fact, not having been in that situation myself and only looking at this on the reflection? Obviously not. But that was one of my reactions. Like I say, for better or for worse, fair or not, I don't know. Let's see. Gulf City Johnny Blaze. I've been there before and it sucks, but sometimes it's not worth it being alone. I know. Yeah, that's also another consideration I've had. I mean, certainly the last year of isolation and everything else, I haven't had a whole lot of human contact or activity, say for my family. So that's another consideration. Assassin of the Gray. Scribe Light, you owe her nothing, Scribe, not even an answer. No, well, okay, you're right. I don't owe her anything. I don't have a sense of debt. But at least in a sense of propriety, at least in a sense of the respect I have for at least the friend that I know she can be, and other things that I know about her that sort of tip the scales. I'm not one to just blow her off entirely and not at least have a conversation. Although obviously here I'm kind of confessing to something publicly, but I just got it on my mind. Ebony Williams, I do not blame you, Scribe. The fact that she broke the friendship over something so meaningless, I don't blame you for being guarded. Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, if 8 years of loyal friendship and support can be tossed aside over something that is comparatively just insignificant, and have it go on for 5 years. Yeah, that's tough. Anthrax Allen again. The relationship dynamic has been damaged and changed. Yeah. Can it be repaired? And I'm not asking, well, I mean, I guess I'm asking these questions rhetorically, but not in the sense that I'm not actively thinking about them. Like I thought, would there be anything, some gesture of hers to quote unquote fix this? And you can't fix it. The damage is done, so to speak. The apology helps in the sense that if I had any idea of a loose thread to this, then maybe this would settle that. But a loose thread also suggests that there's something to resolve. And in my mind, I resolved it practically the day it happened. She got upset at me over something that was demonstrably wrong, incorrect, I should say. And that was it. There was no mystery to this. There was no searching myself for, what could I have done differently in this? Like so many other situations, like I said, there were no plot holes. It was very cut and dry, which also made it a little bit, unemotional to a certain extent. Let's see. Raul Aguilar, Scribe Light. People who have that kind of emotional priority will only get more extreme as they get older, unless they work on it and know it's an issue, but it's work and they will fail at times. What do I expect of myself? What would I want from me in this situation? What would I ask of someone else? What does a second chance look like in this situation? I don't know. I don't know. Who else on here? Useless Rebel. Nothing can ever go back to normal. You can only patch up, not fix. Yeah. Yeah. Ryan R. It's almost never worked out for me when I've started thinking things like, is there anything she can do to repair it? Now, I say that out loud, but I know you can't erase the past. If there was a chance for anything, it'd have to be rebuilt from scratch. I'm just not sure. If I can honestly give that a try, given what happened before. I guess that's where I'm at. Undoomed. Whoops, sorry about that. Hi, Check Your Logic. Undoomed. Oh, okay, Pete sounded like a girlfriend there for a second. Hey, Kiever Dam and Irie Prostate. Girlfriend. No, yeah. So, no, I'm talking about a best friend. Best friend who happens to be a girl. That's just the case of things. So, as you can tell, I'm still conflicted over this, despite all of the, statements in certitude that I made just a few minutes ago. What do I expect of myself? What would I want of myself? I've several times in the past given people second chances on things. Not as dramatic as this, but several times. And I wish I could say one or some of them had turned out well in the end, but to a one, none of them did. But everybody's different. And she's not a bad person. She's not a bad person. What she did was obviously fueled effectively by malice. It was a punishment for not thinking as she wanted me to think or doing as she wanted me to do. And if she has realized the error of that, I can't blame her for it. Yeah, guys, I'm struggling with this in real time. And I appreciate the ears, and I appreciate the fact that I'm kind of rambling on randomly here. I won't go on forever, I promise. This isn't going to hopefully turn into an hour-long stream or anything. And I apologize that it is no particular replacement for the fun of TEDx with Lizzo would have been. But in the absence of another idea or any other material on my laptop that I could actually show you guys for the sake of entertainment, this is what I've got. And I don't know that I'll save this stream. That's the other thing, too. I don't know if this is something for posterity or not. But as an aside from all of my computer woes today, this is the other thing that has been taking up a lot of my mental bandwidth the last several days. But I don't want to dwell on this too much longer. What else am I working on? Well, I'll give you some free previews, at least in the verbal sense, of other projects I'm working on. Granted, I can get access to my primary computer again in the near future, and fingers crossed that I can, and nothing terrible has happened that I can't access my hard drives and things anymore. I am working on a third Jim Jones recording video. It's a lengthy one. So what happened was, like so many of the recordings available of the People's Temple, this one is this particular one's an hour long. However, there is a weird tape transition at the 30-minute mark. And adding the transcription of the dialogue to these videos is a very tedious and time-consuming process. I'm not doing the transcription, mind you. I have the transcription, but adding those to little overlay cards in time to the audio is a very time-consuming process. And I've spent many hours now just doing that, and I'm barely a quarter of the way through the whole sound file. So I have decided that I'm only going to do the first half hour because, trust me, I think if you actually are able to make it through the half hour of audio from the People's Temple in Jonestown in this instance, that'll be more than enough. But I am about then halfway through or a little bit more of adding the transcription cards to the audio that I will be using in the video. Then I have to find pictures and or video clips of Jonestown that I'll put in as the background of the video. And then I'll have that done. Now, do I have an ETA for that? Well, given the current circumstances of my computer, I do not. But that's one thing I'm working on. Let's see. Shady Grin, Jonestown does sound like an interesting video. Well, Shady, you'll be happy to know there's already 2 videos of that same kind on my channel. This is just going to be the third and longest in time frame. Size does matter, of the 3. So if you're curious about that, you can go to my channel, and I've got a couple of videos already up on that. Let's see. Who's this? Shortline 614. I hate to go, but I have to go to sleep. Good stream, scribe, and I hope you make the decision that is best for you. Sorry about your computer. Night, everyone. Bye, Shortline. Get good sleep. Yeah, I won't be going on too much longer myself. The other project I'm working on. So I have chosen another criminal case for a potential criminal video. What is that case? I'm not going to say. I actually have, well, with that included, I have 4 ideas for different cases I could look at. The problem is 3 of the 4, at least at present, I don't have any supporting media for. And what I mean by that is, if I'm going to do one of these, I'd like to be able to have, not necessarily or inherently interrogation footage, although that is nice to have if you have it, but something like 911 calls or a police interview or something. And 3 of the 4 cases I'm thinking of, I don't have access to that, not easy access anyway. And so I've made certain inquiries to different law enforcement agencies and other media organizations on the chance that I might be able to get such material. It's a long shot, but if I do, it'll be something. But if I can't, well, them's the breaks. So yeah, there's actually 4 cases of mine, but the 4th case, the more recent one, actually does have sizable amounts of interrogation footage and news coverage and such. So I've started scripting it. Again, I don't want to write any checks I can't cash, so I can't promise when or if at this point I'll have it completed. It's going to be a long-term project, made longer now by the computer issues. So there's that. As I said at the top of the stream, for those of you that might have missed it, the 5-year anniversary stream will be postponed for an indefinite amount of time until I can get my computer situation fixed again. TEDx's as well, unless I can figure out something to do via my laptop here, they will also be put on hold for the time being, because all the materials, like I say, I would use to prepare a TEDx are all on the main computer, and my laptop is certainly not capable of doing all that. I may attempt to transfer some materials over to my laptop so I can maybe jerry-rig a TEDx stream at some point. Again, I don't want to make any promises, but I'll see what I can do. But yeah, this might just be a forced sabbatical for my part for the next several days, at least, until I can get the new cooler for my CPU, and knock wood that I can actually install it all by my lonesome, because I got nobody here to do it for me. And beyond that, yeah, I may still, if this works for you guys, okay, relatively speaking, I may attempt to do a Sunday stream this Sunday. So keep an eye on it. With my laptop, I can at least still keep in contact with you guys via Twitter, and potentially Discord if I can get that loaded up on here. Yeah, that's kind of all I have, I suppose. A stream of consciousness on my personal problems. Thank you guys for listening to it. And a channel update, the second in as many weeks, which I hadn't expected to have happen. But there you go. If you guys have anything else you'd like to add or ask or anything else for the next couple of minutes, I'll give it an even 30 minutes or so for a stream. And we'll see. Keeverdam, damn, I took next Monday off too. I apologize, Keeverdam. This is 100% outside of my control. I had thought I would be able to stream tonight and do TEDx, but just opening up Chrome sent my CPU into the stratosphere, and it just was not not going to happen and not going to be a tenable situation for the hour and a half, 2 hours, or whatever the TEDx could go. I just couldn't risk it. So, yeah, I apologize. Technical difficulties beyond my control, unfortunately. Pete, you could try to do it through Discord. You can share screen share and everything from there, I think. Just a thought. I'm going to do a test soon just to see if I can play a video on here and commentate and have it come through clearly for you guys. If I can do that, great. If not, well, then spoken word or reading articles or something might be my forte for the time being for this era of my channel. I hope you guys will bear with me. Earl Basham, thoughts on the debt ceiling? Oh boy, well, let me just talk about the brief politics here. Now, as I am not marinating in the news of the day every night, as I used to on Lords of the Night, there are certainly details and nuances here that I just do not have in my brain. But recalling what little I can from previous debt ceiling fights, there are several ways the Democrats could resolve this. There aren't many ways they could resolve it without having to take the whole blame for it. They want a bipartisan effort so they can spread the blame around, but also claim victory if it does work out and everything, because nobody wants to take on the full burden if something goes sour. That's kind of what the Republicans are doing by holding out and filibustering, which is their prerogative. Just as a note, I am no fan of the filibuster. If 51 votes is the majority, then 51 votes is the majority. The 60-vote supermajority that is constantly required on so much of our legislation, I think, is ridiculous and has been for a long, long time. The likelihood of either side actually getting rid of the filibuster in full, I think, is about zero, because each side knows that if they try to destroy it entirely, they'll be yearning for it when they're the party not in power again in the future, because it will inevitably happen. The idea that Biden and or the Democrats are going to do an end run around the filibuster in order to get it done using the nuclear option, I'm not a fan of that either. If you're going to change the rules, change them at a time where it's not a crisis. Otherwise, use the system and work with the process. Don't change the rules at the 11th hour because you can't get your way. If the Democrats were being honest about everything, they'd go through the budget process, as terrible and difficult as it'll be for them to have to do that. If that's their option, that's their option. If the Republicans offer an olive branch and the Democrats can actually negotiate to a bipartisan agreement, that's perfectly fine as well. So one or the other, I guess we'll see. I've heard that the $3.5 trillion thing has been whittled down significantly over the last several days. Maybe that'll get to the point where the Republicans will be willing to vote for it. I would prefer negotiation over to takeover tactics, but those are my thoughts on that. As lengthy an explanation as that was. Let's see, Resolute Germ. If you can download the TEDx videos, you can use Cosme or StreamYard. Yeah, and I've got a couple ideas in mind that I might still be able to do a TEDx-like thing, even in the absence of my software on my other computer. Okay, a couple other things here real quick. Check your logic. Oh, you're talking to Pete. Sorry, I don't want to horn in on somebody else's conversation. Grand Marquis, don't we all get more credit when you can't pay your mortgage? I don't know. See, here's the thing. Another thing I have to also remind. I am a brilliant economist. If I actually knew anything about economics. So I don't know. I don't know. I've got my layman's understanding of things. So that's about it. Okay. Anything else? Thoughts on the debt ceiling? Buy Scribe stuff. Thank you, Keeverdam. Yes, on the off chance you want a Scribe mug or a Scribe shirt or a Scribe coronavirus mask, you can find it there. And with that, everyone, I'm going to call it there. Thank you so much for joining me for this impromptu stream. I hope you found it at least interesting or thought-provoking of a kind. I will be mulling over my options as far as any other YouTube activity in the next day or two. I may do a ramshackle Sunday stream regardless. Might just be an article read or a couple of things I've been looking at. We'll see. I will let you know. Thankfully, I can still get onto Twitter on here. But yeah, I will keep you guys updated on Twitter. Follow me on there. Links in the description. Yeah, anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is just, so well behaved and just so awesome. There's nothing for you guys to do. Guys, if I don't talk to you again via this medium for a while, please, please, please. I hope you are safe and well. If you are not well, please get well soon. And I will see you as soon as I can see you. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.